technocrats want to control the future. They want us dumbed down, watching football, playing Xbox. If we have any political awareness, it's only racial to fight with each other. And they do it all in the name of political correctness. And when you finally realize MSNBC and CNN are consciously doing this, it makes you want to throw up. And then Fox News will play the other angle, the old white person angle, and then just play us all off against each other instead of transcending the fraud and really understanding how it works. Gerald Celente, TrendsResearch.com, is our guest. I want to take 5 or 6 calls for Gerald on any subject you want to raise, but I just want a specific quick question for Gerald so we can get to you. The toll-free number to join us is 800-259-9231, 800-259-9231. First-time callers I want to add as well. Do that a few times a week. Briefly, don't forget the nightly news is subscriber, and then that subscriber base helps pay to fund the larger free radio operation, the free apps. We take the nightly news a day or so later, put it out for free to everybody. That costs money to have a crew cut up and upload it. The magazine, everything we do is about getting the word out. Please become an InfoWars Nightly News subscriber today, prisonplanet.tv. If you're not a subscriber, become one. If you are a subscriber, 11 people can use each membership with the same username, so you can share it with friends and family. It's $5.95 a month per membership. That's 11 people that can use it. That is literally a couple pennies a day. You can also sign up for a year and get 2 months free or go month to month. That's prisonplanet.tv. And then, of course, we have developed with Dr. Group and some chemists and others the most powerful, pure supplements out there, we believe. And we've got the super male vitality, super female vitality that help block the estrogen mimickers and other artificial compounds that are in the food supply. You've heard the rave reviews. We've still got a special running where you can get 30+% off when you get Survival Shield iodine with the fluoride detox chelator. We've got a bunch of different specials going right now, ladies and gentlemen, at InfoWarsLife.com, or you can call toll-free 888-253-3139. And again, you can get 25% off on Fluoride Shield by itself. There's another special where you can get it with the Survival Shield at over 30% off as well. So that is up on InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139. And your purchase of Lung Cleanse and the Lung Shield and your purchase of the Silver Bullet Colloidal Silver, the best, strongest quality out there for the price, helps fund our operation. So I want to thank you all for your support. Shopping with the good guys, using your free will to vote with your dollars to support free, independent, true media in this country. And also want to thank our AM and FM affiliates for all they do. I want to remind listeners to promote the fact that you can hear this show on this station, to tell your friends, family, and neighbors every day about it, and to support those local sponsors as well. That is critical. Toll-free number to join us on air, 800-259-9231. Okay, Gerald, I'm going to give you the floor for the next 10 minutes to break down the trends you predicted, the next phase of the trends, other big news, and we're going to take some phone calls with Gerald Celente.
All right, I'm picking up what you said, Alex, about how they're dumbing us down with sports and with video games and and celebrity culture. The cover of this current TrendsJournal: don't blame Obamacare, blame I don't care. The people are responsible for what's going on. Look what this society has become. Look how low the bar has been set. So that's a major part of it. And also, as we were just talking about, and again, you know, you and I hadn't talked about this before we got on the air, about the borders being open. Here's a story that we did. Stop terrorism? Not a chance. And we showed how during the Super Bowl, the story that nobody covered on how that guy got on a bus in New Jersey with credentials he had from an old music concert a few years earlier, got on the bus, got through security, and gets in front of the camera as they're interviewing the player of the game and starts talking about 9/11. And this is when you'll see that we heard for week after week how the FBI and the CIA and the NSA and all the police departments around the metropolitan area, and you saw these guys out there armed to the teeth, and this guy gets through. So they're lying to us about terrorism to steal our money. And if we do have terrorism, could anybody call it payback? You can't invade other countries, slaughter millions of people, destroy their families and their lives, and not expect them to get even with you. So the whole terrorism thing is both artificial and being created so that if it does happen, we're responsible for making it happen. It didn't happen in a vacuum. On to the economy. Look at the numbers coming out of China today. Their service sector is down to 9-year lows. Their new indexes are showing 8-month lows in other areas. And they're dumping money into the system just like America is. Over there in Europe, they're coming up with a European name for quantitative easing. They're trying to keep Mr. Ponzi alive. He's on his deathbed, and they're filling him with as much monetary morphine as they can to keep him to make it seem as though he's alive. And then you pick up today's Wall Street Journal and you read how all of the lending institutions are lowering the standards and letting people borrow money that, again, aren't qualified for it. And as we had written in a TrendsJournal over a year ago, how they were building a bubble with auto loans. Hey, you want to buy a new car, don't have a job, got no credit? We'll make up some for you. So now that bubble is ready to burst as well. Even with all of this cheap money, you're looking at a housing market that's barely pushing forward. And then you look at some other data coming out. You look at the data coming out from Target, from Walmart, and you look at data coming out from those places like Outback Steakhouses and others that used to service the so-called middle spectrum of America, they did not recover from what they call the winter frigid economy. They expected diners to come back out and eat again as they were before the winter chill set in. They're not. And you keep adding up the numbers one after another, even at the high end. You're looking at Coach, for example, looking at declines of 17%, 21% the last quarter in the U.S. Walmart, but even at the high, 17% this quarter. And here's the language that they use. They just had a merger with like these dollar stores, two of them. I don't know which, I forget the names. Family Dollar and your sister's Dollar. I don't know which two. They just merged, and the way they announced it, the prostitutes on CNBC, the dollar stores where average Americans shop. And that should have been the end of the cut. Average Americans shop at dollar stores. At a time when we grew up, when there were in every community, there were department stores of levels of quality and class that are far above now the Macy's and the so-called middle spectrum. They're gone. They're washed away. So when we're looking at the economy, as Dr. Paul Craig Roberts says, and by the way, I want to make this really clear, there is no one that I respect more for geopolitics and economic insights and analysis than Dr. Paul Craig Roberts. So as he points out, I point out, and others point out, Max Kaiser, This is nothing more than an artificially inflated bubble. Moving on. We are on today, Alex Jones, on your show, they are commemorating the first shot fired of World War I, the Great War. They should never use that word great with it. I know why they use it, but they should have used the disastrous war, the war of slaughter, the war that killed 20 million plus civilians. 90% of the wars, 90% of the casualties in all of the wars are the civilians. So, as they're commemorating that war today, we are on the brink of World War III. How many more numbers do people have to add up? How many more conflicts do they? And I take that word away. That word conflicts is a stupid word to use, and they use it all the time. Oh, a conflict. Oh, you had a disagreement. No, slaughters are going on in Ukraine. Slaughters are going on in the Middle East. Slaughters are going on around the world. Slaughters are going on in the Xinjiang province in China. Hey, Thailand's out of the news. Oh, yeah, they had a military coup. Yeah, but let's not talk about that. You're seeing the United States this weekend announced now we are training the Ukrainian National Guard.
It's crazy. And now this two-star general gets killed by the Al-Qaeda crazy Haqqani network people. I mean, it just shows how the political elites sit back and get more money and power out of wrecking the planet and wrecking our lives. Why do we let them do it? I want to go to phone calls, Gerald.
Well,
but
just one more minute. And that is what you've just mentioned, and that's what stirred my thought. You said about a general getting killed. Alex, this is the New York Times today. This is where the dead Americans are. They don't make the headlines. When a general gets killed or a, quote, ambassador in Benghazi, then it's news.
That's right.
Then we have to look into this. But when Keith Williams, 19 years old, from Visalia, California, gets killed, he gets way down the bottom of the page, along with the others that are 23 years old, another 23-year-old from Kenosha, Wisconsin, on and on. They keep the little people down at the bottom.
That's right.
But when the big guys get killed, we got to put a commission together. We have to look into it.
I agree. In fact, I meant to make that point earlier that notice how they hype this up. But then when the little people die, when one man dies, it's a tragedy. When 10,000 die, it's a statistic, to quote Joseph Stalin. But I noticed in your magazine on page 14, you have a shot of Cary Grant dressed super sharp, like all the photos I saw of my great-grandfathers and grandfathers when they went out, because you had respect for yourself. You weren't fancy. You weren't a glitter bug. You just, people took you serious. You took them serious. And then it just shows how people dress today with their drawers hanging down around their ankles. And again, McDonald's, I read a study decades ago about this, was the first to put thank you up, throw your trash away. It didn't even lower the price of the food. It just lowered the service, lowered the society's expectations. Nobody pumps the gas for you, gets rid of the entry-level jobs. Car maintenance goes way down. You used to just sit in your car. Now they do it. Now you have to do it. And it's the wall Martians and the people having no concern or not taking it personal that they're being screwed over. I think television did this to us. It turned us into spectator wall Martian zombies. And I think that's why society's gotten so bad, Gerald.
That's part of it. And, we had a conference here last week. It just ended on Sunday. A History Before It Happens conference in Colonial Kingston. They held the meetings at the 1774 Academy. Alex, people came from all over the world. A young man came from Japan. It was his first time to the States, from Australia, from Switzerland, from Oklahoma, from Texas, all over the world. And one of the participants was a priest. And he started talking, and he said that he heard me on Coast to Coast one night and talking about what will change. And I said the only thing that will change, and it goes back to what you were saying with the TrendsJournal, is when people have courage, dignity, respect, and passion. And that's what's been lost. They don't have the dignity and self-respect. I'm old enough to remember when you got on an airplane, it wasn't a flying circus. You didn't see a bunch of slobs roll in who could care less about how they looked, how they talked, and how they behaved. So what it is, it's a lowering of the bar of the culture. And they say the fish rots from the head down. I'll tell you when I really saw the change happen. When Slick Willie Clinton ran for president. Now remember, we were used to Eisenhowers and Kennedys. We were used to men of dignity and courage. And all of a sudden, a clown rolls out with a pair of sunglasses on and playing a bad saxophone on Arsenio Hall. How's that for a presidential presence? And it just kept getting lower. Now you have Obama during the last campaign and all the rest of them yucking it up on The View and sitting around with little comics, little boys, the Colberts and the Stewarts, the Lenos and the Lettermans. Let's get this straight. When you have to go to a comic to get your news, you can see how stupid the whole society's become. It's one every night is Freak Night on TV when the presidents, the prime ministers, and the joint chiefs of staff yuck it up with the clowns. The whole bar has been lowered. So the fish rots from the head down. They set the pace.
Listen, I want to go to some calls here. We're skipping this network break because I want to get extra time because we lost some time when your Skype broke up. But the last few minutes, be ready to give me your take on Russia and where you think that's going to go. I want to get your prediction on the Ukraine situation and the IS situation. Thomas in California, thanks for holding. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, you're welcome. Thanks a lot for being there. I love you guys. I used to listen to Ray Taliaferro. I'm a veteran. And my take at the whole thing is, due to you, Alex, thank you, and bless your soul, Americans are too smart. They need a dumbed-down military and a dumbed-down police force in order to do the one world order. They couldn't have done that with Republicans in. They needed to have the borders open with the Democrats in. Okay? That's the only deal. We got the left hand of the monster and the right hand of the monster. Now, I'd like to know, what are the consequences of our military is now going to take up a good percentage of these lesser educated immigrants that are coming in?
Well, I'm not even that concerned about people that end up becoming part of the military because there's something there. When you've got women with 2 or 3 kids and they're going to be hooked on the Democrats immediately with an agenda that's racially based, I mean, it's bad. That's not the melting pot. That's Thomas's point, listening on KOMY 1340 AM in Santa Cruz, I should add. Gerald, your take on that?
I think you covered it. You know, the issue is a dumbing down throughout, and they're using this again. The immigration issue is very obvious.
Oh yeah, I mean, Americans have turned into 500-pound wall Martians. Yeah. You know, so we're talking about these immigrants all day. We're in bad shape as well. I mean, it's just a mess. But I hear what you're saying, Thomas. It is about bringing in desperate people that think the Democrats are their mommy. Let's talk to Larry in Wyoming. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, first-time caller. I'll try to get to my point quick. I just retired from a practice of periodontics, and I can assure you in the real world with the people that dress right and look right, they're not right. I mean in a biblical sense, and I'm not a religious guy, but I'm saying it's cannibalism. As a periodontist, I was expected to lie and deceive my patients so that I could get referrals to cover for the inadequate care of the general dentists who were destroying the gum health of the patients, waiting to put crowns on all their teeth and then referring. So there's corruption within every industry, I think. It's very...
Oh, yeah. Well, there are lots of people that are dressed nice that are predators, and that... There's all sorts of stuff that goes. But of course, society's not perfect either. But I hear what you're saying. Do you have a question for Gerald Celente?
Yeah, the question is, when do you think the point of getting real happens with this culture? Everybody is basically cannibalizing everybody.
Well listen, exactly. We've gone into a predatory system rather than a production system.
It goes back to morality. As I said, the fish rots at the head from the head down. So let's suppose I'm still the kid that grew up in the Bronx, and I'm hanging out with the guys, and one of my friends has an idea to pull off a heist or anything. And I say to him, hey, that's not right. You know what he'd say to me? What are you, stupid? Everybody's ripping us off. The banks are ripping us off. The government's ripping us off. Oh, and you want to play it straight? That's why morality is important. You have a loss of morality at every level of government. And what people are doing is they're following the leader. There is no morality. Look at the slaughters going around the world without taking a side on any of the issues. Where are the religions talking about this? I don't hear a peep from the Pope.
People watch television 7-8 hours a day, and they just believe the fantasy while the real world's going on around them. The public is asleep. I think that's a big part of it. Let's talk to Red in Texas. Red, what's your question or comment?
Alex and Gerald, good to talk to you. Hey, I'm going to go over something real quick.
Hey, do me a favor. Get off your speakerphone real quick.
I'm not on speakerphone.
All right, well, just ask it real quick because it sounds like speakerphone.
No, I'm on my regular phone. I was just asking about Bitcoin. I need to know where to go with the money.
You know, I always say I'm not the right guy for Bitcoin. But to me, it kind of reminds me of the dot-com boom. It's hard for me to grasp it. And it was hard for me to grasp a lot of things that were going on in the dot-com boom, that when it bust, I saw why it bust, because there was nothing behind it. And there are too many different countries with too many different regulations and too many different states. That's my position on it. Having said that, there are those that know a lot more about it and believe in it differently than I do. So that's my take on it. I just don't have a grasp on it that makes me comfortable with it.
I have a bad feeling at the end of the day, but it's now being expressed as a revolution against the big banks. So I get that part. I'm just saying, watch out, folks. Sure, if you want to get involved, that's your issue. I think we're going to start accepting it on the shopping cart because people are demanding it. Big mainline groups are using it. And so when in Rome, do as the Romans. But at the end of the day, I'm not recommending people get involved in it. I'm saying that's a choice by choice for each person.
I would agree exactly what you said. And then I look at the other end of it. Why would I want a Bitcoin that's up in vapor when I could buy gold or silver?
Exactly. So I'll use it. If people want to use it in commerce,
exactly.
I'll use it, transfer it into Fed notes, then transfer it into silver or gold.
Yeah, we take subscriptions, by the way, with Bitcoins. We have no problem doing that, and then we just convert it.
Exactly. I mean, it's the original alchemy. We take fiat Bitcoin or fiat Federal Reserve and then transmute it into property or into crew or into building new projects or into gold and silver.
That's right.
It's amazing alchemy. Let's go ahead and talk to Vince in Montana. Vince, thanks for holding. You're on the air.
Thank you for taking my call, guys. Hey, Gerald, I've got a question for you. I've been posting stuff on the internet for 20 years, and I have never run into a problem being blocked or spammed like I have with this information. The CDC owns the 4 patents on the Ebola virus. I didn't think much of it at first. I thought, well, maybe they patent everything. But every time I attempt to put that out there, I get blocked, marked as a spammer, deleted. Why do you think they don't want the public to know that the CDC owns the patents for the Ebola virus?
I think Alex can answer that better than me.
Well, it's a complex issue. We don't know exactly what's happening with the Ebola virus, but I know this. They've never brought people into the country that have had it before. It's more recklessness by government. What do you say to that, caller?
Well, I just know that the fact that they have it patented and the fact that it looks like a nicotine-based stops the cytokine storming of the Ebola virus, it looks to me like it's a patent issue. It looks like someone's trying to make money off the cure.
Well, but then how would they be spreading it in Africa? I mean, I hear you. The H1N1 was a fraud to sell vaccine. I hear you. We'll look into it. We don't know all the answers yet. Gerald, sorry to the other callers. Thank you so much for your time. TrendsResearch.com for folks that want to find out more. Invaluable website and journal. And people can see your daily video and audio reports as well. We got 45 seconds left. What do you see happening in Ukraine?
War. And it keeps building up more and more. The sanctions, if you remember, they started off very lightly, and they keep increasing. You have a time now when Europe is still down economically, and it's going to become more and more difficult to do business. And watch for those border incursions into other countries. That's what's going to be a spark for involvement, I believe.
And they say the Ukraine sanctions is what's plunging our economy and stock market, again, hurting everybody, Russians and Americans. But the EU needs a way to try to keep from collapsing, so war's the way to go. Gerald Celente, thank you so much. Coming up live, we're going to have David Knight and the Marine Corps Colonel coming up. David Knight will introduce it. Next hour, Infowars.com/show to find the free video feeds. Great job, crew. Nightly News tonight, 7. The globalist social engineers are not just targeting us with propaganda. They are manipulating our genetics. We are being targeted at every level by estrogen mimickers that lower our testosterone and other hormones and natural compounds that the body needs. After consulting top doctors, nutritionists, pharmacists, and others, we have developed what I believe is the ultimate non-GMO organic super male vitality formula sourced from powerful organic herbs and then concentrated for maximum potency. Super Male Vitality was developed to activate your body's own natural processes instead of using synthetic chemicals. Super Male Vitality by InfoWars Life is so powerful that I only take half the recommended dose. For a limited time, we are offering 15% off Super Male Vitality at InfoWarsLife.com to introduce you to this powerful supplement. Visit InfoWarsLife.com today to secure your Super Male Vitality at InfoWarsLife.com.